because of my working at CBS and being a songwriter, that's how I found out about the studio musician. And I realized that there was not a Musicians Hall of Fame anywhere. And so, I don't know why, I just out of the blue, I said, well, we need to open a Musicians Hall of Fame. And I didn't want to do it on a small scale. I mean, what I had envisioned was a third major Hall of Fame museum. And some people said, why don't you rent a second level of a plaza and start out with a couple of rooms? I said, because it'll never get any bigger if you do that. You have to start with a big building, something that people will be impressed with, something that people that you would want to have in a major institution would want to put their stuff in. Otherwise, they're not going to want to be involved in it. So I bought a building, and we're sitting in it right now.
I was going to say, it's right here, isn't it?
This is the room. It was on 6th and Clark. And that's 6th Avenue right there, and this is about where Clark was. Wow. And that was in 2003, November of 3, and I started renovating it. And then in June of 06, we opened up. And then somewhere around 8, the city came to me and said, we're going to expand the convention center. We want to do it in the parking lot between here and the Country Music Hall of Fame. And we want to build covered walkways to your museum. And I said, great, let's start now. And then that turned into the biggest project I think that the city has ever done, which was what we're in now is the Music City Center. And I ended up being in the dead center of it. I knew we needed a new convention center. I'd been traveled enough, I'd been enough places. I knew that what we had was not cool. What we needed was this. So I never, ever contested the fact, okay, well, all right. And they said, we'll make you whole. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with eminent domain, but then the economy tanked at the same moment. So about 2 months before they started breaking ground on it, they said, well, we don't have the money anymore to do it because we had to cut $15 million off the budget or whatever. I mean, I have the plans of the museum in this building, and it went away. Mayor Dean, and they asked, what can the Convention and Visitors Bureau? I said, well, would you consider putting it in the old Municipal Auditorium, first level? And I said, that's a historic music building. I mean, basically everybody but Hendrix and the Beatles played there from 1962 until they built the bridge down across the street here in probably 99, something like that, 98. And so I said, that'd be a great home. And it had an iconic look. It was a 200,000 square foot building, had a 10,000 seat auditorium on the second level with a lot of history. And so we worked a deal out and moved there. It has become a destination. And as Mike Curb kind of said, what my dream was when I first started was, I remember telling my wife, I said, we're sitting at the computer, and I'm like, you think somebody in Seattle ever one day might go Musicians Hall of Fame? Oh, yeah, Nashville, and actually recognize it and know it and so forth. And Mike Curb came over in 14. He'd been at this one as well, but the first one, but he came over and he said, Joe, to me, there's 3 major music museums: the Country Music Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Musicians Hall of Fame. And so that was about as good a compliment as we could have got. And so he told the Grammys about us in LA. And so Bob Santelli, I don't know if you know Bob, head of the Grammy Museum, started out at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, then went to Seattle to the Experience Music. But 7 years at those first 2 places each. And then he went and started, they asked him to do the Grammy Museum. So he flew in and saw the museum. He says, we'd like to partner with you. So we did a 9,000 square foot Grammy gallery. This is all hands-on. Bob said, this is the best one on the planet. It's the newest one. Is our technology you have here is 7 years newer than ours, and in LA, and so it was a great addition. And so that's, in a very large nutshell, the story.